I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
away. All right, so I have my communication log here, and I did the date, the type of communication, the time, who it was, where I was, and then I kind of did a why column. If it was just like casual conversation, if it was work related, if it was like political, I have a couple of those. The device, which was the majority of my phone, but then my MacBook was thrown in there a couple times, and then whether it was received or sent. So I have all 3 days doing that. And then I kind of just used a couple of the graphs that this gives me to look. And then I guess I'll use those as references to start my own.
That's perfect.
So far.
Do you have kind of an overall theme or anything that you want to communicate that you thought was interesting about that surprised you or was interesting about your communication log?
I know that I've talked a lot about politics these 3 days just because of everything going on. So that was kind of interesting. And then I think that I receive text messages more than I send them, which was interesting to see too.
Uh-huh.
Most of my communication was texting.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Okay. Can you go back to the graphs that that you were able to create? And you created these in Google Sheets, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Cool.
And this shows like where I was, and then this shows what type of communication. So.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, I mean, this gives you the exact proportions, to help you build your graph. So that's great. Okay. How are you feeling about transitioning over to Illustrator?
I've used it before, so I think I'll be okay.
Okay, good. All right. Okay, good. Think about how what you want to say, about it. What you want to say about your communication. So you kind of have a theme or a plan going into making this project. Something about this snapshot of your life.
Yeah. I have to kind of think about that, but I wanted to create kind of like a timeline and then show like I sort of just show like who I was talking to, because I'm kind of interested to see who I talked to the most.
Uh-huh. Sorry, Pamela was going to say something. Go ahead.
Well, part of her theme might be that texting is the most important, or seems to be the most important form of communication at this time. That might be something worth focusing on.
Mm-hmm. Well, this whole group message, is that a text group text, or is that, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, it's a group message that I have with my work friends that they're always talking to me in, so.
Okay. Okay, well, keep going, Kate. You're doing the right thing. You have a lot of data, so that's great. That must have been very tedious to log all of that.
Yeah, it was, but it's interesting, so I'm glad I did it.
Okay, cool. All right. Did you have trouble over here?
Yeah, the monitor.
Oh, shoot.
I started maybe the computers.
That's weird. I started. It was the input, was not the PC on the thing below there. I'll go to Pamela since she's coming in. Oh, you're there too.
Yeah, I just logged in on this one.
Okay. I'll go to Pamela over here. Are you ready?
Yeah, I just want to show.
Just turn your volume down. I think it's quiet enough here that we can hear you through mine.
Mine is so.
Oh, maybe 4.
My volume's down. Or, oh, I know what you're talking about.
There you go. Okay, so I want to go to so I'd like to move this up, but this is every time I zoom in, it's kind of, I can't really fit into my, I don't have a way of scrolling up or down for some reason, so I have some issues. So
You want to hit share screen?
how do I do that?
The green button over on the left with the arrow in the computer. Here, I can show you. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I'm not really sure what's done.
So just go ahead and just pull up whatever you want to look at on your computer. Don't worry about, just ignore the Google Hangout for a second.
To get things out of my way so I can.
You know what? I can turn off the projector if we're right here.
Do you see it?
Because it's
Yeah, I see it. Okay, good. So again, I can't really position this for some frustrating reason onto the screen in a way that's useful to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I can do that. There we go.
Much better, huh?
All right, so this is what I've got so far. This is the first, it's the first graph. So there'll be two others. So this one is the caricatures of the people that I'm involved in. The other things that will be added to this is there'll be a Facebook icon, and then there'll be an other in terms of social media, and then maybe an email icon as well. But they'll be smaller and kind of probably off to the side. I've not yet decided how it'll visually look,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the beginning. And then down on this portion, there will be two more graphs that will be smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So these represent the people that I most talk to.
Mm-hmm. I think we'll go ahead and you guys say what you want to say first. Kate, I don't know if you knew this. I didn't have the video posted from last week, but Pamela is, oh, she worked at Six Flags too.
Really?
Kate was in security.
Oh.
Pamela was a sketch artist, and she did all of, she used to do caricatures at Six Flags.
Yeah, I was in loss prevention for a year.
Oh, God, how depressing.
She's got some amazing stories though
I'm
from
sure
loss
I'm
prevention.
certain of it.
Yeah.
But so Pamela did these illustrations and brought them into Illustrator and is connecting her fine art work with this particular project.
Those are really cool. Yeah, I think that'll look really awesome.
I think what you're starting to do, and I know you're just getting them into the format, a couple of things is that whole 72 hours, the hand illustration work that you're bringing into your titling, and maybe when you start to diagram, if you do diagram of connecting relationships and explaining the relationships between these people, because that's sort of interesting about these people are interconnected. It's not just your five random people that you talk to. There's a relationship, and that's giving us another dimension of information, which is really interesting. So like perhaps if you create connections between these people, maybe do it in a hand-drawn sort of way. I just like this. I like the way that you've done this. The 72 hours is a hand-drawn thing. It's sort of oddly placed right now, but I know that you're just trying to figure out your space and pulling things in together. But that hand illustration work, if you can bring it throughout, I think it'll really kind of hold it all together. And then right now, the way that you have these people pointing to different sections of the graph.
Which is completely inaccurate, by the way.
Well, that's fine. I'm just thinking if you're going to have the graph itself is very computer generated type looking. So it would be if you could somehow tie the color to the person. So for example, if this is your dad, maybe he has a blue ring around him that coordinates with that. So we immediately know he's associated with that blue segment. And I would think about syncing the pictures, syncing the the colors to the personality. For example, the Russian woman who's the model and the spy and the superhero, maybe her color's like a red or a scarlet or something like that. And that's another level of communication that you're delivering. And then all these other little slivers of people who you've talked to, you know, that's sort of other interesting connections perhaps. But maybe these people who are the primary players in your life are these very deep colors that really communicate their personality. Whereas maybe those slivers, you'll tone them down, maybe even keep them grayscale or something like that to indicate, yeah, I do have other people I talk to, but this is what I'm trying to say. This is the network and these are the players. So that's just my initial idea, but I love the illustrations and I love the combination of something that looks really authentic and hand done with the computer generated graphs.
Oh, you do think I should keep the the graphs?
Or I think you just need to bring them together in the sense that, like, you know, like matching the colors to the people, or I don't know if it all has to be.
I wasn't sure that I was going to keep it. I wanted it there to represent, but I didn't know. I really haven't decided yet whether I wanted to keep it
Or recreate it in more of a hand-done sort of way. I don't know. I think you can.
But I also get, you know, I have to remind myself that I can overdo any project, and then get caught in the minutia, and I have to really kind of watch that. So.
It's hard. You're going to have to kind of take steps in and steps back. I would kind of work on what are the key graphs and what your plan is, and kind of figure out your space a little bit, and then get into the little detail stuff, you know. Like, I don't know if titling in this left hand, it might be space wise. And by the way, the shape of this diagram, the shape of this overall final project is totally up to you. It could be square.
Sure.
It could be, you know, so you have that to play with.
Did you have a dimension, a size that you were interested in?
No, I mean, it's up to you. You can do whatever size you want. If you like the square, if you want to do something that's wider than it is tall, I mean, whatever works. This is your piece. But that's what I'm saying. This looks like this has some nice detail in it, but I don't know if that title is really what you want to say. I mean, 72 hours, I mean, your story is about a web of interconnectedness. Or maybe it's not. But I think that the title, you might want to think about what title comes out of all of this as you start to bring pieces together. You know what I mean? You probably have like...
Well, we're like creating a depth that simply isn't there. I mean, it's just, this was 72 hours of...
Right.
So, I mean, we can call out something that sounds interesting, but probably isn't.
But I think that this is a snapshot of your life. It is, I mean...
It is.
I learned a lot about you and the key players in your life just by seeing the 72 hours of communication. So even if it didn't come through necessarily in this log, these are five pretty important people to you. And there's an interesting interconnection between all of them. I think that's part of the story. The title of 72 hours is fine, but I think there's something more descriptive about what you're showing us.
Okay.
I think it's going to look super cool. I'm really excited to see this final piece. I already want to put it in our school portfolio. I think it's going to look awesome. And I mean, I don't even know how many more graphs you need, because I think you could do so much with what you already have there.
Right.
You know? I mean, and then these color relationships that you establish, maybe you have one big graph like this where you're introducing the players and how much you talk to them. And then you might have two smaller ones, but the color scheme and the relationship and the people, I mean, you could have a timeline and then like their faces along the timeline. So you're repeating, and even though they're smaller and it'll be harder to make out the detail, if the Russian lady has a red ring around her, we can see, oh, she talks to Russian lady at night or in the morning, or, you know, you can kind of, you can kind of see, like, I don't know, I think you're introducing your whole scheme up here. And then as we go lower into it, we'll see a little bit more. Right. Okay, I'm going to jump over to Laura. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. Oh, good. Well, that's fine. I can't believe our Leiden friends are not here. What's up with that? Let me just check my email really quick and make sure I'm not missing anything.
Do I have to release anything?
There's Darren, email from Darren. You can do stop sharing. I thought here's Darren. Oh, okay. All right. Nobody else has sent me a message, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I don't know what's up with the Leiden people. I offered to do another critique for them last week, and they said, no, we'll see you Tuesday. And so I'm not sure what's going on. I may have another critique later in the week. So if you want to get another critique in, you're welcome to join in. But keep doing what you're doing. It's looking good.
For senior overview, are we still meeting at 2 on Thursday?
Yes, I set up the call last Thursday, but no one was there. So I just figured nobody had anything to talk about yet.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have to sub so far, so I'll hopefully be there.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I'll see you later, Kate. Bye.
Okay.